live on YouTube.
Okay.
And
maybe I should share my screen.
yeah,
And still
right.
see.
I think that would be fun. And so,
Oh yeah. It says you're seeing my PowerPoint. Is that correct?
yes, I see it. I think there is a bit of a delay in the stream. Yes, it is coming up on the stream.
Yeah. And I'm because if I do what I just did, I cannot see. Oh, well, I can't see you. I can't see anyone. But you guys are going to manage the.
Yeah, we'll manage. You just do your presentation stuff. We'll manage the. We'll be checking the chat and stuff, right? So.
I always feel strange when I can't see people, just see my screen.
Right now,
I just leave it like that for now.
Right now, the only person that's there is me so far.
Right. Well, it's still too hot for me for hot chocolate. This has been a long summer. I'm trying to remember if normally in October it's cooler.
I think that's because we've all just been cooped up, right? In the house and stuff over the last 6-8 months, right? That nobody really knows what the temperature is like or whatever. So right now they're saying it's according to YouTube, there are 2 people on there, and one of those people I know is myself, right? I'm assuming because of the fact of streaming it, but we've got about a minute, and you can decide if you want to wait a little bit, or if you want to just go ahead and get started. It's up to you. However you want to do it is fine with me.
Okay, I'll wait a little, I think, and then I'll wait a little, and then we can record the WebEx, right? Yeah, that way.
Because we had a lot of folks on it the last time, so I assume that people are getting ready to try to get on.
Oh yeah. I was in a meeting from 10 a.m. till like 2 p.m. and then tomorrow's 8:30 a.m. till like 2 p.m. So, but it's all good. It's not always like that. Hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm okay. I just finished, bombarding emails to Dr. Barlow.
You did, Christine.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
So I have a question, right? Okay, so you're joining us via WebEx, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I send that particular link out? Or how did you get that link?
How did I get this link?
I'm sure it's probably something that I did. So
I had RSVP'd a while ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
The
and then
original one.
yeah, and then I copied and pasted it into like each of the my
well, that would
calendar.
have made sense, okay, because
Yeah.
that happened before I did
Hi,
have the
Ariana.
brilliant idea. Before I had the brilliant idea to broadcast it on through YouTube, right? Okay, so that's all. Now that mystery is solved, and don't realize that you guys are not magical. Okay, so that's really pretty good. But we are also broadcasting off of YouTube also, so that will make it the session available as it was last time. However, what we found out was that it only taped, if you will, like 22, 23 minutes of that first session. So we're also going to record today's session and the third one so that we will have it and be able to post in the future. If that's okay with everybody. So if you
Sounds
don't
good.
want to be on camera, go dark, right? Or whatever. Margarita, are you about ready or you want to wait a little bit longer? Um, we've got 6 people on thus far. I'm assuming we'll get some more, but if you want to start, then we can.
I am ready. Yeah. And the nice thing is we have 2 different recordings. So, people want to catch if they miss something and come in later. Yeah, we can start. That'd be great.
So I just want to welcome everybody. Thank you again, Margarita, for doing this, the right corner, the second installment. As I indicated earlier, we will be recording this particular session. So I'm getting ready to hit the record button in 3, 2, 1, record. Well, you got to also hit the record button when the thing pops up.
There we go. I love how everyone's smiling.
Okay. So I'm going to turn it all over to you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And welcome everyone to the Right Corner webinar series. This is the second part of the 3-part series on ways to get you started and sustain and improve your academic writing. So I was just telling Dr. Barlow, it's still a little too hot for me to drink hot chocolate, but I hope you have something to drink, water at least. I'm curious if you were here, was anyone here last time? And I don't know how to ask because I can only see, it looks like some of you were here last time. Some of you are new. Okay. So whether you're joining for the first time or coming back, welcome. And if you were not here last time, my name is Margarita Huerta, and I'm an associate professor in the College of Education at UNLV. And this series, I said this last time and I'll say it again, it would not be possible without Dr. Harriet Barlow's and the UNLV Intersections awesome staff support there. And it also would not be possible without the writing mentorship that I've received from Dr. Patricia Goodson at Texas A&M University. So I wanted to make sure to acknowledge and thank both before getting started. So what we'll do in this webinar, it'll be very much like last time. I will try to get through 30 minutes. Last time, I think we hit 35 minutes of content, and then I really want some time for us to write. We did have some questions at the end last time, so that's important, and we can field those at the end, just because there's so much to go through. So I'm just going to talk, and then if you have questions or think of things, you can write them down, and then we can address them at the end if that's okay with everyone. So with that said, let's start talking about how to build your writing productivity and ways to increase writing self-efficacy. Okay, so I made this in case anyone, I don't know, I'm always thinking about research. If anyone needs to cite the presentation, you can pull that up, whether you're doing the PowerPoint slides or the webinar, it's already there for you. It's APA, sorry, that's what I use. So also some of the images that I use in the presentation have their URL link. And a lot of them come from actually really helpful websites that have to do with writing. So you may want to click on those. And Dr. Barlow, everyone has a copy of the PowerPoint, correct?
Yes,
Oh.
yes, that is correct.
Oh,
I can send it. I sent it to them.
wonderful. So everyone should be able to follow along, or you just click on links and things. Wonderful. So let's move on. So I will tell you, when I was going through my PhD, I had these comics posted all over my GA office because they would make me laugh. It's phdcomics.com. Anyway, this one, the character is saying, I feel so productive. Look at all the things I've checked off my to-do list today. And there's a to-do list, and you can see small task, check, done, insignificant task, done, tiny task, done, trivial task, easy task, done. And then that huge task you were supposed to have done a long time ago, but kept putting off, not done, right? And then she says, okay, never mind. I don't know if you guys, if this has ever happened to you, maybe not necessarily a list like this, but I certainly can relate to this. Feel free to, again, I don't know how to get participant response. I see some smiles though. But yeah, so I know that this definitely, this is what I tended towards doing, or what I tend to do when I want to avoid something that feels unpleasant, like a big, huge writing task, or I'm so overwhelmed, right? So it's just easier to check email, grade some papers, make an agenda for the next meeting, rather than address the big, huge task that I was, is looming over me. And so I want to talk about how to help overcome this. But a really quick review. In session 1, we looked at 2 important definitions. One is writing anxiety, which is basically what I would call the manifestation of a feeling of tension, worried thoughts, physical changes like increased blood pressure when a person's confronted with a writing task. So it's the definition of anxiety combined with when needing to write. And there is quite a bit of research on this, that it is a real thing. And it's a lot of times it's related to writer's block amongst university faculty, and it can also have a negative effect on graduate students and their grades. And I would imagine undergrad as well. I'm not sure if we have undergrads in our audience today. We may. And then that's the bad news. The good news is that writing self-efficacy is also a real thing. It's a belief in one's capability or confidence to write in a given situation. And so there's one study that I was part of that where we look at these variables if you're interested in that. But basically, research has shown a direct and negative correlation between writing anxiety and writing self-efficacy. And that's a good thing, right? That means if you can have higher writing self-efficacy, you can lower writing anxiety. And that's what we want. So we discussed how this is good news because of what I just said, right? So I'm going to show you some tools for helping you with writing self-efficacy, which then in, I guess, theory / also proven in some research, can lower writing anxiety. Nope, my mouse is not wanting to take me to the next slide, so I'll click. So we're gonna, this was from last time. Last time we talked about 3 foundational points, which were basically about embracing your writing identity, establishing a writing routine, and engaging in the writing process. So if you want, so you can at least access the PowerPoint on that and watch like the first 20 minutes of that on YouTube. So, but I'm curious, is anyone here who was in the last session who would like to share about implementing any of these points? It can be really short. If you want to stop and give the opportunity for that.
Hey, Doctora, this is Juanita.
Hello, Juanita.
So I really have taken to establishing a writing routine. I have a writing group that I join on Mondays and Fridays at 5:30 a.m. because working full time, trying to balance it all. But that accountability and just knowing, right, that my Mondays, I'm starting it off, and my Fridays, I'm finishing it off strong, has been helpful.
That is awesome. That is so encouraging to hear, Juanita. Thank you. That is so admirable too, 5:30 in the morning. But there, can I ask? I mean, I hear like for people that do it first thing, it's such a, what I've heard, and you can tell me because I am not a morning person, is it's so relieving if it's the first thing you do, because the rest of your day, you know, you've been very productive on that and it's not weighing on you all day. I don't know if you feel that on Mondays and Fridays.
It does help me to just keep it out of mind, because then I have to start working. Then I start my 8 to 5. So
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? Okay. Well, you can share later also. So now that we've reviewed, let's keep talking about I have another 3 concepts and tools for you this time. So to help you with self-efficacy. So the first one is to set priorities. And this is a concept and tool to help build your writing self-efficacy by setting priorities. So it may sound very simple, but I don't know. For me, it's difficult because sometimes I feel like everything's a priority. I have so many different things going on, and I have to ask myself, well, how do I even prioritize this? Because everything's important. So one of the most helpful tools I've found, and I'm looking around, I don't know if you can see me on the screen or not, but I have a picture of it, is the productivity planner. I'm holding up the actual one I use. And I like it. I've tried lots of different systems. I like this one mostly because it's very simple. I think it was about $25 on Amazon, but for me, it was well worth the price. When I had a lot of things to get done very quickly and efficiently, I think I discovered it like the year before I went up for tenure. I mean, I had been working steadily, but that year there were just so many different tasks. You know, going up for tenure, I realized it wasn't just about all the things like the writing and publishing, which are huge, but there was just a lot to manage in terms of procedures and things to do. And so I discovered it that year. And like I said, I like it because it's simple. And, you know, I'm not saying you have to buy this. I'm not advertising this by any means or getting any commission on this. I was thinking through what are things that have helped me. People, like I said, I've tried different planners, and to me, this is the simplest. And I've even made a digital form of this. So I took pictures so you could see what I'm talking about. And so so basically the planner asks you to categorize your task by priority for the week and then per day. So it forces me to think, what are the 5 most important tasks of the week, the secondary tasks of importance, and any additional tasks to complete. And then I like that it has inspiring quotes and thought-provoking quotes each day. So you can see that there's one up there about perfection. And every day is different. I personally like that. And then it has little tracking bubbles. And I believe last time I mentioned the Pomodoro method at the beginning of the planner. It explains the Pomodoro method because that's what they base things off. So each circle is supposed to be 25 minutes. For me, that doesn't work. I make the circle 30 minutes. That's just me. So for me, it's 30-minute increments. And so and you'll notice that it doesn't allot time for more than like about 2.5 hours per task. And remember, we talked about how creativity, I mean, it depends on the task you're doing, but if it's a very deep, focused, creative task, 4 hours is the limit, really. After that, if you keep going, you're just not being productive anymore. So it's best to use, I would say, to use this planner for hard thinking / creative tasks that experts agree you can't sustain for more than 4 hours a day. It hasn't been super helpful for me when it comes to lots of meetings or teaching or checking emails. So you could put it as additional tasks. And I like that you can write in target work times and actual work times, right? So maybe then you can see like, oh, this task, actually, I finished it much quicker, or, oh, I need more time on this, or I thought I would only need an hour for this, but it actually took me, 2 hours. So, and it's just nice. You can rate your little productivity score, and at the end of the week, it's one of my favorite things is reflecting on what were my weekly wins, what went well, what did I not complete, and what have I learned, and what am I going to do next week to keep being productive. And I know it sounds simple, but I feel like this daily reflection keeps me accountable to myself. So of course, it's even better if you have a writing group, right? But like for an individual day-to-day weekly things for myself, I find this very helpful. So I'm showing you this again because you may take elements of this into and you can make your own system, right? You do not have to go out and purchase this by any means, but it's helpful to think about how do I prioritize and how do I track, right, what I'm doing each day, and am I reflecting at the end of the week, even at the end of the day, because it asks you for a productivity score at the end of the day. So those little things, and you don't have to spend a lot of time on them, can really help with self-efficacy and reduce anxiety because you're conscious of what you're doing, okay? So the key to this method, like I said, is I can't speak, making priority for items and really not moving on to the next task until you've completed the other one. And that one's kind of hard, but so like I said, you could do this on a piece of paper. You can modify this in any way that makes sense to you. So this is related, the rocks, pebble, and sand illustration. I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with this. I had heard about this before, and it's related. It's this whole idea of understanding why prioritizing is so important. And I really like this illustration of the rock, pebble, and sand, and I'm going to show it to you in just a second. The basic idea is that if you have a jar that represents time, you're able to accomplish the most important tasks, which are the rocks, only if you prioritize them. So you can see the visual, right? So the sand are the little things like the emails that come in every minute or, you know, the scheduling and all that stuff can eat up your whole day. And then when you try to do the other important things, you know, they're still kind of fit there, but the really big important things are just not going to fit. But if you start with those, then you actually, that's why what Juanita was saying about doing the writing in the morning, the big things, it's like they're done, right? And then everything else can fall in place. So there is a short YouTube. Oh gosh, let's see if I can get it to, I think I have to go into this mode. It's just about 3 minutes. Is it showing?
Getting distracted by little.
Is it showing on your screen?
It's not.
It is not. Okay. Oh goodness. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I am going to share again. And I'm going to share Safari. I believe that's where it is. Are you able to see it now?
Yes, we are.
Oh, right. It's a little bit of an old video, but it was still my favorite one for illustrative
In
purposes.
life is easy. By starting your day with trivial activities, you will not have the time for the things that actually matter. Whether you are a businessman, mother of 4, or a professional, anyone can lose focus of the things that are important in life and fill precious time with meaningless things. In the 80s, Stephen Covey taught the importance of prioritizing the important things in life, which will enable you to do more than you ever thought was possible. His concepts still apply to life today. Even if you think you know all of this already, the visualization metaphor really hits home. This demonstration from the 7 habits of highly effective people will change how you prioritize. If you lack focus and want to do more important things in your day, you have to check out this life-changing video. Though there's never enough time to do everything, there's always enough time to do.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. Cool. So anyone seen this before? I'm just curious. Is this the first time everyone sees this?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I had heard about it. I just hadn't necessarily seen an illustration of it. Trying to share my screen again. Thank you for your patience. There, I think you can see my PowerPoint. Cool. So I just think it's a powerful image, right? And I know it's very true for me. I can spend the whole day on email. If I start and I don't stop, it will just consume my day, right? And then I won't get to writing. So I think there's truth in that. All right, so point one is prioritize your writing projects and don't move on to tasks of less importance until you've touched your writing priority for the day. So now we're going to talk about time, right? So I like to use a timer. I actually have this little chicken timer sitting on my desk that I bought at a grocery store. And so this idea, again, it's a very simple idea, but I think it's very powerful. I prefer to have a physical timer, but there are timers that you can use your phone, right? You can use the timer on your computer. The thing about physical timers is you'll hear the little ticking sound, so you can almost condition yourself to writing time in that way. It can help you with focus if you're very consistent with that. Some people also place their timer purposely like across the room and have to like turn it off so that it forces them to get up and move. Last time I talked about a little bit about the importance of taking breaks, right? Even though we're not physically moving when we're writing, it's the opposite effect, right? You're just sitting and staring. It's bad. Your eyes are getting dry. Your body's getting stiff. You need to move. So it's very important to move. I recommend every hour or so to at least stop and move and blink, breathe. So it helps. The timer helps remind you to take a break between writing sessions. It's also it can be very motivational to help you start something. So what it does, for example, is if I have to accomplish a task or start a task that I don't want to, and I'm resisting, like a big, difficult writing task, I'll ask myself if I can bear to do it for like 15 minutes. And so I'll set my timer. And the important thing is that while that timer is on, you are 100% focused on just that task. And while it's on, and I promise you that you would be amazed at how much you can get done in just 15 minutes. In fact, yesterday I was exhausted. I should have done my writing in the morning. and I had to start a writing project, and I was so tired and I was caught up in the sand. I was in all these emails and all these scheduling things, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop. It's harder once you're in it. It's better to not to, to start with the writing. So that's my new thing for next week, is to start with the writing. But I was in all the sand, and I stopped, and I set my timer for 10 minutes of focus. I closed my email. I got so much writing done in 10 minutes being focused. And I was like, it's real. And I know it, and I do these things, but it's just to encourage you, like, these are all things to put in your toolbox for writing and self-efficacy and self-management. I actually resisted the timer the first time I heard of it. I thought it was a silly idea. And later it became my lifesaver. I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it. And even as I said yesterday, it was my lifesaver to get that project going. So I wanted to share that with you. And alongside the timer, there's a couple of blog posts that I found that talk about using timers to write. So it's not like just something I made up. And also there's a really nice YouTube video, it's on YouTube, which we don't have time to see today, on the Pomodoro method that I've mentioned, which is that idea of 25 minutes, take a break for 5 minutes, then do another 25 minutes. Like I said, you can adapt that to shorter or longer stretches of time. And like I said, if you do decide to go with the productivity planner, they also explain the Pomodoro method and writing in the beginning, but the little video is really nice. All right, so that second point I wanted to make, or tool to talk to you about, is to use a timer when you write. A timer can provide motivation and help you focus. All right, and on to the next one I am going to run over a little, is the log. And if any of you have ever attended any of these types of writing sessions, you've heard me talk about the log. And this one is, I think, was the most powerful for me at the beginning. So the first time I heard about it, I actually took to it quite quickly. A lot of people resist it at first, and it's okay if you do. But I was actually in my last year of graduate school, and I needed to get my dissertation done. And when I heard about the study done by Robert Boyce, he was a psychologist who studied writing, and actually just faculty issues, psychological faculty issues, but almost all of them were about writing and writing anxiety and how faculty manage that and things that would help them be productive with writing. And so one of his studies, he found that professors who log, and I knew I wasn't a professor, I was a grad student trying to get my dissertation done, right? But I didn't care. I was like, this is about writing and getting big projects done. So he found that professors who logged their writing were on average 4 times more productive than faculty who did not log. And even more interestingly, professors who logged their writing were on and shared their log or their productivity, just talked about it with others, were on average 9 times more productive than faculty who did not. And I thought, I need to be productive, so I will do whatever it takes. So you can actually read one of his studies. I found that one from 1989. I think that's the one that talks about this. But the numbers are funky. You have to do the math to find the 4 times and 9 times more productive. But anyhow, it's there. He also wrote up his findings in books. One of them is called Professors as Writers. And again, I think for me, it was understanding, how do you get through big writing things, right? So even if you're thinking, well, I'm not a professor, but do you write? I mean, you're here. Do you have writing projects? I just wanted to know what was helpful for getting things done. And I recommend it to both faculty and graduate students who have a lot of writing projects. So the logging, before I go there, what I found when I started logging is that I was writing 0 minutes a day. Okay, 0. I was reading a lot. I was searching for articles. I was analyzing data, but I was not writing at all. When I started logging, it made me realize that. So it was a huge wake-up call for me, and the log became my lifeline motivator and accountability to write my dissertation. And I used it through all like getting my, like even now I use it like through tenure, and I still use it today. I think it's my most useful motivator to keep writing, right, and keep myself accountable. So I have shared my log with others during different phases of my writing career. I'll be honest though, it's hard to find someone consistent that will share back in my experience, but some of you are in writing groups and you could share your log with them, and you don't even have to look at, you just like show them, here's my writing log. And that's it. There's just something psychological about that. So it's a good thing to have that external accountability. But even if you don't have that, I was like, hey, I'll take 4 times more productive versus zero writing, right? But if sharing and having that external accountability is available for you, then that's even better. So here's an example of a log, and it can look overwhelming because it's filled out, but every month, I do it every month, it's blank, okay? But this is one that's filled in somewhat. This is from February. And it's an Excel sheet. I have the date, I have the time I began writing, the time I ended writing. Excel calculates my writing in minutes per day, and then at the end, it has a cumulative time. So like, of course, February 3rd, I wrote for 2 hours, 2.25 hours. And then I wrote again and I added to that time and so on. And then at the very top, it'll have total writing time. This was a very productive month. Not every month is this way, I will tell you. I was like, wow, 42 hours, right? And I can document like what I was working on and what were my next steps, where I was writing. And so you can do this on Microsoft Word. I like Excel because it can calculate things for me. And like I said, I have tabs at the bottom, and you can see the bottom. I started making my log by months because I like to track seasons of writing. And if I were to show you other months, they're not like this. Some months are much less writing, some are even more. It depends on what's happening. So I have definite months where I write less due to things like starting the semester, ending the semester. And then there's months that are quieter and I do more writing. But the point is to keep going. That's the hard part, right? Just keep going. And like I said, you can, if you decide to do a log, which I encourage you to try, you can set it up however you like. I already talked about some of the elements. I like to track where I wrote. I'm definitely a person who writes very well at home, but not all people do. Some people, and then right now, of course, we're all at home. But I was going to say, if, once this is all over, some people prefer coffee shops or working in their offices. I mean, some of you might have that option. Or even I've known people that like to write on planes, or, I mean, you hear all kinds of things, but just tracking your patterns is helpful to get to know yourself as a writer and where you're productive in different spaces. Next steps to me is very important, especially when I have many different projects. It helps me know where I left off on a certain project, and I can just visually see it and pick up where I was. In the past, I've color-coded things. I mean, you can do whatever you want with this log. But the important thing, some people put streaks, like how many days in a row have I written? That stresses me out, so I took that out. Some people put a column that says how I felt, and that can be really helpful for tracking emotions. So you can make it whatever you want. And in the end, you want it to be something that motivates you, okay, not discourages you, but it's also real, right? Like when I started, I was writing 0 minutes a day. There have been phases in the last 6 years where I have written 0 minutes a day, and I need to reflect, or a week even. I need to reflect on what's going on. What do I need to do, right? What do I need to change? It's personal accountability. So that was the last point, which is log, or one of the last, just the last point, log your writing, and if you can, share it, or at least share with someone that you're doing that. All right, I've talked a whole lot. So as a recap, my writing dares for you from now until the next session are to set priorities. I've given you an example of a tool I use, and you can look at the PowerPoint and make your own version of that, even on paper. Try the timer. Especially if you're having a hard time starting something or sustaining something. just put it on for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, do Pomodoros. And then the logging, again, to me, that was the most eye-opening, is logging my writing, and if you can, sharing that. And then come back next time, bring others if you can, if you want. It's extra credit. And I was going to ask, and if anyone who thinks they'll be here next time, and this is a big ask, so you can say no. If any of you would be willing to share 1 to 2 pages of a writing draft, because I'm going to model ways to provide feedback and some editing tips. So it helps to have material to work with. If no one's comfortable with that, I will find something, but I always think it's more engaging if someone's willing. It's a lot to ask to share, like 1 to 2 pages of a draft of something they're writing. Plus, you get feedback. So, so if you could email me that you were willing and those 2 pages, that would be awesome. And so I just wanted someone to have the opportunity to get feedback and some editing and also benefit from this writing presentation. And if not, it's totally okay. So, and I think I have my email. Let me see if I have it at the very beginning. Do I have it of the presentation? Oh, no, I don't. Okay, well, I will ask Harriet to send it to you, or I can tell you. It's basically my name, which isn't that easy. It's Margarita, like the drink Margarita, .huerta, HUERTA @unlv.edu. All right, and I was going to close with this slide of different books I've mentioned from the last time. And I just want to remind you of them again. I talked about How to Write a Lot by Paul Silva and Pat Goodson's Becoming an Academic Writer, Helen Sword, Error, Light, and Time and Space, Cal Newport's Deep Work, and then today I introduced Robert Boyce's Professors as Writers. And then there's a couple links to different blogs, people who write about academic writing processes. That can be really helpful. They have lots of cool free resources, and lots of them you can sign up for emails to be sent to you. So thank you. Someone put my email. I appreciate that. And then last thing is let's write. So again, I went a little over, but I'll field questions, and then after that, if you guys want to take some time, here's some ideas of things you can do during this space. And we may only have 15 minutes, but like I said, it's amazing what you can get done in 15 minutes. I will turn on my chicken timer, actually, when we're all ready to write. You can free write your ideas like we talked about last time, mind map, schedule your writing time for the next week, month before we meet again. Start building a writing log. Find a timer, or decide what timer you're going to use. Reflect on what you learned today and what your next steps will be. You can explore the resources on the PowerPoint. You could read one of the writing blogs or purchase a writing book. So those are some ideas of things we can do in this space for writing. You may have your own, but I wanted to give you a list of things, of ideas to start. Thank you, Anna. And do you guys have any questions that I can answer at this point? I am going to stop sharing. Yeah. And field any questions anyone might have, or comments, or thoughts, or contributions. It doesn't have to be questions.
Dr. Huerta, this is Pedro Hule. Thanks for the presentation and for the tips. I just had a quick question. So you, professor, how do you find the time, or how much time do you allow yourself to give yourself, say, some type of a breather or a break before you start writing? For example, like I work full-time, 8 to 5. I'm going to school, taking a couple of grad courses. How can I guess to make a schedule? How much time should I be allowing myself to take a break and then, kind of jump into that mentality to say, okay, I have to start writing now and keep it going?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Pedro. The last time we met, I had a little table. I don't remember where I talk about that. Right? Ideally, I will tell you the ideal. Okay, especially in your situation, this is the ideal. The ideal would be for you to write in the morning before your day starts, and that may or may not be possible, but that would be the ideal. And to write every day, at least like 15 minutes. Start with 15 minutes a day, first thing in the morning before you do anything else. Then it can build up to 30 minutes or maybe even an hour. And it's amazing because it's like interest, right? Compounds interest, right? It's amazing what you get done when you do things in small chunks every day, and especially at the same time, especially at the beginning of the day, because at the end of the day, we're tired, right? But if that is not possible, then what some people do is, like you said, they might set aside a day of the week or a chunk of the day of the week, if that's even possible, to write. But I don't recommend more than 4 hours, right? Because you won't be very productive after that. Now, I haven't answered your question because I haven't really thought about that, but you do need breaks. We need mental breaks when we're writing. But what you're asking is about exhaustion from the day, right? So,
Yes.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it may help to take a walk for an hour, and I don't know if part of what you're asking too is how you get into the mode of writing when you have all this stuff swimming around in your head. Is that part of it?
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm getting at. Like, how can I get myself back into, or reel myself back into this mode of, I need to start writing.
So I would set a timer for 10 minutes and read a blog on writing. Or I would just do what I call a dumping session, where I just free write without worrying about grammar or anything, all the thoughts in my head, or to just get them out, all my feelings, and it's not anything anyone's going to look at. Or I might just kind of do more of a focused dumping session where I'm like, okay, right now I need to focus on my writing project for this class, and I just write it out for like 5 or 10 minutes. And that helps me. It's like a warm up for an exercise, right? So either writing, like just dumping, or reading something about writing, academic writing, like one of those blogs, that helps me warm up and refocus to my writing session time. Those are the things that I have found most helpful. Some people also copy. They'll look at as a warm-up, they'll find an article they really like or an author, and they just literally sit there and type and copy their sentences. And I don't know, it helps get into the mode of academic writing and thinking. So those are 3 different strategies for that warm-up, right? And then very, very important and hard sometimes is if you can, like, turn off email and your phone and social media. And I always think for 10 minutes, right? Or 15 minutes. And then I get into it and I might go another 15 minutes. I need a break after an hour though of the writing. But does that help a little with the warm-up part?
No, it does. And I think right now it's just becoming more of a setting up more of a routine for me. Because I've been trying to sort of apply the tips that I learned from the last session, dump writing and setting up a time. But yeah, right now it's just trying to find that time, when you have a family and like mornings are super busy, but nighttime seem to be working for me. I guess I'm more of a night owl. And so far, it's been working okay. Yes.
No, I am too. When it's all quiet and everyone's asleep or whatever. Right? But how do you get in the mode? Yeah, right. So then I would recommend and I realized I didn't really talk about that. Like, that's why I keep showing those books and blogs. Like, just read something, or just kind of dump write stuff and turn things off. I like to have music. I set ambiance, right? Like, maybe I condition myself by having my coffee with me, or a tea if it's at night and I want not have caffeine or whatever. Like a warm drink and some background instrumental music really helps me. But it's like you said, you're setting a routine. And so whatever you condition yourself with, be consistent. And that helps me psychologically, like focus. So that's me. Anyone else have ideas on that? You're so welcome. That's such a good question. Are things you guys do or thinking about doing? Rewards help. Like I like to try to reward myself. Like, okay, if I do my writing time that I said, when I said I would do it at the end of the week, I will reward myself with, I don't know, it could be whatever, like whatever a reward is, buying something on Amazon, which I shouldn't do anymore, or, eating chocolate, or which is bad too because it's food. But like if you can I will, if I get this done, then I will have time to do something I enjoy. So that helps me too psychologically. But that's more of a long-term thing per week. Anyone else? No other questions? That was a great question for girls. So if no one else has questions, I'll still be here. We have about 10 minutes to write. You think you guys can do that? I'm going to do it. In fact, I need 10 minutes to write on this project, so I'm going to do it right now. So if everyone's fine with that, I'm going to set my timer to 10 minutes, actually like 12. And when it goes off, I will close it. Sorry. So, right.
Margarita,
Yes.
is it possible for you to mute? I'm sorry. everybody, but
No.
gentle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so my timer just went off and I see it's 4 o'clock. So just if you'll wrap up whatever you were writing. And would anyone like to share what they did at this time or what they accomplished? We can celebrate 10 minutes of accomplishments, whatever they did. Nobody? I'm trying to see how many words I wrote. Trying to like copy and paste and do a word count here. I'm not normally someone that tracks productivity by word count. Some people do. That's actually quite common. I like to track things by time. But since this for me was like kind of what I was saying, like a dumping session for me to warm myself up on this big project I'm trying to do and just generate material to work with later. I'm curious about how, 437 words. But I wasn't worried about structure or like spelling or anything. I was just getting my thoughts out so later I have material I can shape. And that's what we're going to talk about next time is how do we take messy writing that we've just been like generating and actually shape it into something and give it structure. But it helps a whole lot to have something to work with and not have anything to work with. So I feel pretty proud for those 10 minutes to get 437 words down. A messy material, but it's material nonetheless that on this topic I'm writing about. So there's my accomplishment. How about you guys? And it could have been, you could have been doing other things. It could have been like setting up a writing log or scheduling writing time. I'm just curious. I'd love for you to share. Okay, well, I know it's intimidating because we're on YouTube and everything, so it's okay. You don't want to share. But again, if anyone is willing to share messy writing, and again, I know it's a lot to ask, so I would be forever grateful, and we will use that next time to talk about how to edit and get feedback on writing. If not, I will find something. Maybe I'll use what I just wrote right now. We'll see. So, but thank you for being here. It is 4:02. We've gone over 2 minutes. I really appreciate you guys. I see on the chat someone's becoming a true believer of timing themselves using Pomodoro. Yay! That's awesome. That's so cool. So yeah, and I really appreciate you being here. I'll stick around a little. If someone wants to just ask questions, maybe Dr. Barlow, you can stop the recording. And maybe people might feel more comfortable not being recorded.
Yes, I will stop the recording after I say thank you for doing this, and thank you to all of the participants. We truly appreciate it, and we hope that these sessions have been helpful to you, and we will continue to do them as long as you want us to do them. Thank you again, and I'm stopping the recording today, right now. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you, Christine. It's good to see you.
I know, so nice to see you. I have to go to another meeting.
I understand. I understand.
But it was nice to see you. You'll probably see me over email.